Have you ever really thought about how plants eat? I mean, really. It's kind of wild. The green world all around us is pulling off this incredible magic trick every single second. It's like a kind of solar alchemy. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and unlock their secret.
So, let's start with a simple question. Did you know plants can literally make their own food? It sounds simple, but the answer is just profound. Scientists call them autotrophs, which is just a fancy way of saying they're self-feeders. This isn't just some neat party trick, it's a fundamental power that sets them apart from pretty much all other life on Earth.
And this superpower, it has a name: photosynthesis. I'm sure you've heard the word before, but today we're going to really dig into what it actually means. Because this isn't just some boring biological process, it's the engine of life itself, humming away in every single leaf, every blade of grass, and every bit of algae on the planet. Okay, so let's break it down. First, we'll get a handle on what this incredible power actually is before we jump into the secret recipe plants use to turn actual sunlight into life.
At its heart, photosynthesis is a brilliant transformation. I mean, think about it. Plants take three of the most common things on our planet: sunlight, water, and the air we breathe out, and they convert them into energy-packed food. It really is a form of solar alchemy.
The best way to understand this whole thing is to think of it like a recipe, a solar recipe for life itself. And just like any good recipe, it all starts with a very specific list of ingredients.
And this whole thing is just a beautiful, coordinated dance. It all kicks off with sunlight, right? That's the energy. The leaves grab that. Then, from down below, the roots are pulling up water. And all around, the leaves are literally inhaling carbon dioxide from the air. And just like that, the three simple ingredients are ready to be combined.
But of course, every recipe needs a chef, right? The special something that makes it all happen. Well, in this process, the chef is a green pigment inside the leaves called chlorophyll. Yeah, that's the stuff that makes plants green, but its job is way more important than just color. Chlorophyll is the molecule that's perfectly designed to absorb that solar energy. It's the spark that ignites the whole process.
Now look at this. This table shows you the incredible result. Notice what's going in: sunlight, water, carbon dioxide. Pretty simple, low-energy stuff. But now look at what's coming out. Glucose, which is a complex, energy-packed sugar, that's the plant's food, and, as this critical side product, pure oxygen. The plant has literally turned light into life.
So what happens to these two products? This is where the story of photosynthesis gets bigger than just the plant. It becomes about, well, the entire planet. Let's look at these two vital creations: food and fresh air.
That glucose, that's the prize for the plant. It's the fuel it uses to live, to grow, the whole shebang. But the oxygen, well, that's where we come in. To the plant, it's basically just a waste product it needs to get rid of. But for us, and for almost all animal life, this waste is the essential gas we need for every single breath. It's amazing. In this one single process, you see how beautifully interconnected all life on Earth really is.
And remember, this isn't just happening in one little leaf. It's happening on a planetary scale. So let's zoom out for a second and really connect the dots to understand why this one chemical reaction is, you could argue, the single most important process for life as we know it.
I mean it. Photosynthesis is the absolute bedrock of our world. By creating food directly from sunlight, plants become the very first link in nearly every food chain. Everything from the tiniest bug to the biggest whale depends on it. And by pumping out oxygen, they literally created the atmosphere that allowed complex creatures like us to evolve in the first place. Without it, our planet would be completely unrecognizable.
It really does boil down to something this simple: no plants, no oxygen, no life. It's a pretty stark equation, but it just perfectly highlights how much we depend on the plant kingdom for every single breath we take.
And all this brings us to a really critical final thought. In an age of deforestation and a changing climate, we have to ask ourselves, what does a world with fewer plants actually look like? It's a vital question to think about because the answer is going to determine the future of every single living thing that depends on this simple, powerful, and absolutely magical act of photosynthesis.